Hey, guess what? It's almost summer. And by almost summer, I mean it's kind of spring. And regardless of how close or how far it is from that warm, delicious weather that I'm craving, I'm so excited to start thinking about the things that I'm going to knit to wear when the weather gets warmer or is warmer. I live in London, so it goes back and forth. Now, these knits are going to be a little bit different than you might be seeing from places where it gets a lot hotter. I am working on a tank top, but I'm also thinking about things that sort of work for what passes as summer weather here in London, which is, kind of cool. I would say, high 60s, low 70s, if we're lucky. Obviously in Fahrenheit. It's funny, we've been living here since 2018 and I've gotten really used to thinking in pounds instead of dollars. I don't think in meters, I think in miles. I can sort of think in kilos, but God help me, I will never get the degrees right, particularly in a heat wave. So, okay. Here's my issue with Celsius. When it's hot outside, when it's really hot outside, everybody's like, oh my God, it's so hot, it's 30 degrees. No, that's not nearly enough degrees to describe how hot 30 degrees Celsius is. Meanwhile, in Fahrenheit, you're like, oh my God, it's almost 100 degrees out. Like, yes, it is almost, if you think of it almost like a percentage, it is 100% hot, right? Like that's the right number, that's the right number of degrees for that level of heat wave. That's what I think. Only thing I know, thanks to a couple significant heat waves and one absolutely brutal bout of pneumonia I had a year or two after I moved here, is this. 30 degrees Celsius means it's too hot outside. 40 degrees Celsius means it's too hot inside, because that was the temperature at which, when I had a fever, I would start getting delirious. So those are really my only benchmarks for Celsius. Why were we even talking about this? Oh, warm weather. Warm weather, right. So I have one whip that I'm going to show you that I've been working on for my youngest, and then I've got some yarn that I'm going to show you and tell you a bit about what I'm planning to do with it. So the whip that I have to show you is actually the Sailor Swift top by Kutovakika. It's a great tank top, and I've really been enjoying the pattern, but I have modified it a bit. Specifically, I'm not doing stripes because I got this incredible ombre color shift yarn when I was in New York City at Knitty City, a great local yarn store there. This is from Lang. It's Lang Paradise, and it's a cotton viscose blend. I've really been enjoying it. I think the colors are absolutely beautiful, and when I brought it home, my youngest immediately said, you're gonna make something for me with that, right? So I suppose that I did. So the construction for this is interesting. I mean, it might be very standard. I haven't done a lot of sweaters or tops, so and I think this is only like the second tank top I've ever done. So I don't know if this is normal for this kind of construction, but I'll show you. So you do this back part first, right? And then you pick up the shoulder stitches for each of the straps, and then eventually you join in the center here, you work your way down, and then you pick up and then you cast on and eventually join in the round. This is a really straightforward construction that makes a lot of sense. It is, however, a huge pain in the ass when you've already made the back and then you realize how the construction works. You should always read the whole pattern first, and I almost never do. So I was in this really interesting position where I had to figure out how to match the yarn. So basically what I did, I was very fortunate that there was enough of this dark green that I was able to only open up a second skein of yarn. But basically I started another skein from the beginning, got down around here where you're supposed to start this one, use this same skein, and then as I got down here, I was like, okay, in order to really make this work, I'm gonna have to remove a bunch of the green the dark green yarn and get it to pretty close to where it starts transitioning into this brown. And I eyeballed it, and I think I did a pretty good job, you guys. And then I had to remove way more of the brown to get it to do the same thing. And I honestly think it sort of works. I think that the colors transition really beautifully, which means that this is a really forgiving color change yarn, which, God, I really needed. Yeah, so I'm really happy to have finally landed on Stockinette Island. It's obviously on a fairly short, I really prefer working on a fairly short cable when I'm doing something like this. So it looks a lot smaller than it is. But I'm very happy with it. My kid is very happy with it. I should have it to the point where the body's done maybe today even. Hey, Elizabeth from the future here, editing in bed. I did not, in fact, finish the body that day. I'm nowhere near finishing the body. I actually cast on my next project because, you know, Stockinette Island is not something I want to waste. That's really good for like when I'm working and I'm in a meeting, and then I'm just able to just do that in the round. That's like gold. So I'm saving it. Sorry. And then that will give me some time to work on the I-cord edgings for the armholes and for the top. And actually, I might be able to use that dark green yarn that I saved to go around the collar, and I think that would be very, very cute. So that's the warm weather stuff that I picked up for one of my kids, and now we're going to talk about warm weather stuff that I want to make for me. So I've shown you this yarn before, and I think it's a good place to start, which is this beautiful lace weight yak silk that I got at Black Squirrel in Berkeley when I was in the Bay Area for GDC, and I absolutely love this color. And I was thinking of using it to make one of those sort of gauzy, translucent tops that are super, super popular. I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally make a Sadie top or a Bad Idea blouse or one of those other sort of sheer jumpers out of this, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. But the more that I look at this yarn, let me see if I can figure out which skein. I think it's this one that's sort of coming loose. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, I think you can tell at the top here. I think it got a little sun bleached. I think the yarn had probably been at the store for a while. And I didn't notice the color difference there. And I think you can see a little bit of it down here as well. Until I came back. And I think holding this single is a mistake for that reason. So if I double this up, I get fingering weight. So my plan now is to hold these double in order to sort of marl in the places where the color is a little bit different. And that means that I am now working with what is effectively a fingering weight yarn, because I'll be holding 2 lace weight double, and also that the amount of yardage that I have to work with is essentially cut in half. So instead of doing one of those larger, super gauzy, sort of translucent, filmy tops like I was thinking about doing with this, I think I'm actually going to be making something a little bit shorter, something that should be a little bit more fun as well. I'm thinking about the rib lace raglan from James Watts. I just saw a video, I think it was an older video, but I'm currently in the process of binging Breathing Yarn, which if you haven't seen Isabella's channel, I highly recommend. I really like her very cool, casual vibe of just talking to you, being very chill. It's a very conversational, very relaxing channel to watch, and it was actually one of the things that made me feel like maybe I could do this whole YouTube thing. So shout out to you, Isabella. I think you mentioned in a video that you like when people shout you out, so I figured I would do that. Anyway, she was showing off her version of a rib lace raglan that she did by James Watts, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to be doing with this yarn. I absolutely love the color. I love the vibe. I think that it'll make a great summer piece that I could possibly then move a little bit into, because this could be an autumnal color, right guys? Could move this a little bit into autumn as a layering piece, either with like a tank top underneath it or wearing something over it. So I think that's the plan that I'm doing with these. I'm really excited about that. I think that's probably going to be the next project I cast on. after I finish Aspen's Sailor Swift tank. That said, there's still a hole in my life for that particularly gauzy, semi-translucent, transitional weight top that I really wanted to make with that yarn, but can't. I know these tops are normally made out of a single strand of mohair. It turns out I hate mohair. And when I say I hate mohair, I don't mean I hate wearing mohair. I never even got that far. It turns out I hate knitting with mohair. I find it incredibly difficult to cake up. I feel like it loses all of its fluff. All of the different brands of mohair that I've tried to knit with, the knitting's been a nightmare for me. So I actually gave literally every single skein of mohair that I have, which was a pretty substantial, a very, very large bag of it, to my friend Anna, who loves mohair. I hope she uses it in good health, but it did mean that I was sort of in want of an alternative. And that's when I found this. So last year, we had an uncharacteristic weekend where nothing was going on. And I asked my husband if he wanted to do anything. And he was like, well, what if we went and got a fancy hot chocolate and we went to that knitting shop in Pimlico that you've been wanting to go to? And that's how you know that I found myself a keeper, because Adam cares not for hot chocolate or yarn. But we did manage to get some incredible hot chocolate and great croissant, and headed over to Beautiful Knitters down in Pimlico, and I picked up some of the most remarkable yarn that I've just sort of been sitting on and waiting to use for this very purpose. This is from a local dyer, I believe. It was by Chromanima, and it is 3 skeins of the most beautiful 100% cashmere, hand dyed with indigo. I am just so in love with this yarn, and I love indigo. I've never worked with yarn with it before, but I've always been really into vintage denim, and I mean just the color in general that indigo gives has always been one of my very favorites. And the way that the dyer just lets the indigo work its way through the yarn in whatever way it wants leads to some of the most remarkable color shifts. I'm dying, you guys. I'm just so in love with this yarn. It's unreal. It's so beautiful. And so when I saw it, my original thought was, what if I made a Woozy by Celine Sadie top, but went down in needle size? Because again, like, mohair is going to be a lot fluffier than the cashmere is. And while on Ravelry, it's listed as a lace weight, on the Chromanima website, it's listed as sort of a heavy cobweb. So it's a very fine yarn. And so I think I would probably have to go down a needle size or 2 to get the same sort of drapey translucent effect without it just seeming like holes. I'm definitely going to have to swatch with this yarn before I get going, but I think that this could be absolutely incredible as one of those really drapey, lacy tops. And then, just because I couldn't resist, I basically got the identical inverse colorway, where it's just a single drop of the indigo that works its way through. And I might do like a headband or something with this. I think that could be really cute. So yeah, those are my summer knitting plans. I'm sure I'll be working on a lot of stuff in between. I know I want to get a jump on a lot of my Christmas knitting, and I just got a huge sweater quantity of yarn to make a sweater that I'm really excited about. So I'm sure, despite the warm weather, I'll end up casting that on this summer as well, so that I can end up wearing it when the fall hits. And yeah, I hope if you enjoyed this format. I don't know, I don't normally show off things in progress or yarn. Well, that's a lie. I show off yarn all the time. But these are the things I'm thinking about making right now. I'd love to know what you're thinking about making. in the warm weather as well. I get so inspired by the things that I see on YouTube, and I'm really wanting to get inspired by the things I see in the comments as well. So if you enjoyed this, please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know if you think there's something I should do, particularly with that cashmere yarn, that you think would be great for sort of the spring and summer. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.